Hi everybody, welcome to the Saturday Surface Interval in association with the extreme sports magazine Empora. So tips for new scuba divers are just all over the internet, but you don't want to read like an animal. You want to listen to the comforting sound of a dive instructor's voice with some handy tips when you first start out. So even if you've been diving for a little while, you might actually learn something interesting to make your diving easier or safer. So stay tuned. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Simply Scuba channel. We upload all sorts of scuba diving advice videos, and every single Friday we do a Q&A. So if you have any questions that you want answered, let us know down in the comments below with the hashtag #AskMark. But for now, I've collected a few general tips that most scuba divers should find quite useful. Now, you won't believe number 5, so stay tuned until the end. Actually, in all honesty, probably number 4 is probably the most useful, but it would be nice if you could please watch the entire video. It's much better for our analytics if you do. All scuba divers, not just instructors, like to help other divers and explain things that they don't understand. So if you've ever become unsure on something, then just ask anybody. Well, not anybody, not Fred who's just walking down the street, but feel free to ask anybody at the dive site or on the dive boat for their opinion. Nobody's going to make fun of you or say something rude, so just ask the question. There are so many new things and nuances to scuba diving when you're just starting out, so you'll learn a lot by simply asking questions from time to time. It can be part of a conversation and you just casually ask somebody how they do something or their recommendations on a certain aspect of scuba diving. Divers love talking about their diving and their dive equipment, and they will show you how it works and how to do certain things with certain pieces of equipment. The only thing is, try not to be that person that doesn't know how to do anything at all and expects everybody else to do everything for them. The odd thing is fine, is, oh, could you help me fit this, whatever it is, but don't expect people to assemble all of your equipment for you or to set up your dive computer because you just haven't read the manual. One of the best things that you can do is to visualize the dive. During the pre-dive briefing, pay attention and think about what it would actually be like to be there and where things would be in relation to you when you first jump into the water. As you start your dive and then sort of continue through the dive, just kind of have a mental map and a quick sort of go through the dive in your mind. That way, sort of inside your head, you have a sort of Google map view of the dive site with you actually in it, and you can kind of feel naturally which way things are and which way you need to go. During the actual dive, you'll know more instinctively which direction things are at all points, and you'll be much more prepared for everything that happens during the dive. So in your mind, go through the entire dive in your head and think about everything that you'll do. That way there's a portion of the dive where you'll need a torch, then you'll remember when you're getting kitted up, oh, I need to bring a torch, because you've already gone through it in your mind. Go through the motions in your head of deploying your DSMB in your mind so that you're prepared and getting out of the water, so it's all routine, it's all muscle memory because you've gone through it in your head and you know that you have to do this first and then that, and that way when you first come across it, it's safe. It's when you're on the boat, it's on dry land. It's not the first time when you're down at 10 meters and you have to figure it out for the first time then. It's also very good to chill out at this point just before the dive and try and focus on your breathing well before the dive. Divers who visualize the dive beforehand and practice their breathing tend to have lower breathing rates on the dive, so their air lasts a lot longer as well. Too many divers see the safety stop as just boom, the end of the dive. They get to 5 meters and they just switch off and they just kind of hang there, just kind of staring at their dive computer. But you can still do a lot at 5 meters. There's plenty to see. When you start to get low on gas and you start to shallow up, you can do your safety stop actually whilst checking out the reef at the same time. You can do them both at the same time. There's still plenty of stuff to see and do as well, instead of just sitting there waiting for the countdown on your computer to reach 0. Personally, I'll often do some litter picking if I find anything around that depth, and I'll just kind of cruise along the reef. All at kind of 5 meters, so my safety stop is just actually doing something and seeing things, not just hanging there in mid-water. Obviously, if you're doing your safety stop off the back of the boat in the open blue on a hang tank or something, then yeah, there isn't a great deal to see or do, just a lot of blue, but you can still look around. Your dive computer isn't going to be doing anything unusually amazing at this point, so there's no real point in looking at that, but you might miss something interesting that's swimming around in the water over there, and so do your best to stay as flat as possible whilst kind of looking around just in case something does pop into view. Your safety stop is a great time to practice your buoyancy as well, and maybe even a mast skill. Just make sure that you ask your buddy to make sure that you don't start floating away, but yeah, you got 3 minutes to, I don't know, do a mast removal and replacement, getting your body used to it so that if you need to do it in an emergency, it's not such a surprise. Empora is an online magazine that is all about inspiring adventure and just getting outside. Whether your outdoor adventure takes you sliding around on a snowy mountain, pulling yourself up a rock climbing wall or a boulder, riding your bike through wooded trails, surfing barrels down at the beach, or of course exploring the underwater world on Scuba, Empora is a website that has got you covered. So Empora features all sorts of interviews with industry leading professionals and brands as well. Previews of upcoming events, reviews of the latest equipment, and the latest news, and just everything to keep yourself clued up on the hot outdoor issues. Empora has got the lot, so check them out after this. If you need to hold onto your fins after your dive, but you need to use your hands for something else, there are a few things that you can do. So if it's something simple like climbing up a ladder to get back onto a boat, you can slip your hands through the heel straps of your fins so that you can climb up the ladder and your fins pretty much are just out of the way. For longer walks, you can hook the fin straps over your SPG on your hip if it's clipped securely to a D-ring. You need something proper like a bolt snap. If it's just one of those quick release plastic clips, be a little bit careful. Your fins will kind of slap against your legs a little bit, but you'll be able to use both of your hands to do things other than hold onto your fins, and your fins won't be going anywhere if they're clipped securely. So some places you can find dedicated fin strap like clips that you can kind of loop through your fin straps and then clip them off to a D-ring to hold onto your fins, but these clips are fairly single purpose. That's kind of all they really can do, and they won't do much during the dive but get in the way and be a bit of a flappy snag hazard. So I prefer to use a strong bolt snap that's already fitted to something else like my SPG, so it's kind of multi-purpose. If there's one thing that a lot of scuba divers forget when they're getting kitted up, it's their weight belt. And that's a pretty important piece of kit to actually, getting down under the water. Now, I've done it myself once, and I've had to jump back in the water, swim back to shore, and pick up my weight belt before reconvening with the boat further down the shoreline. After your wetsuit, the first thing that you need to put on should really be your weight belt so you don't forget it. You want your weights as close to your body as possible so they're nice and trim, and trying to put your weight belt on after you've put your BCD on is kind of tough. It's a lot of a shimmy and wiggling, and you can never quite get it in the right spot. But there's nothing worse than being that person who holds up your buddy, or worse, the entire dive group, as the rib has to circle back just to pick up your weight belt. all of them just kind of sat there sweating away in their wetsuits under the baking sun, and all they want to do is just fall into the water and go for a dive, but they need to wait for you. So try to always remember your weight belt, put that on as soon as you sort of start getting kitted up. So there were 5 tips for new scuba divers and experienced scuba divers also. Let us know in the comments below if you've come across any handy tips for other scuba divers, and remember to subscribe to the Simply Scuba channel for more scuba diving advice videos and product reviews as well. Thank you for watching, and of course, safe diving.